Back in 2018, I bought my first ever Gibson guitar. The decision came down between a 2015 non-reverse Firebird and a SG Tribute. I really liked both and they were both on sale for a price that was really good for a Gibson, but eventually I went with the SG. But I always kept thinking about that Firebird. Ever since then, I tried to find one from time to time, but without any luck. And I rarely considered the more common reverse Firebird, but following the likes of Tom Bukovac and Robert Baker on YouTube, they started to warm me up to the idea, so here we are. When Epiphone released these new Firebird models, I wanted to try one just out of curiosity. They were sold out most of the time, but I got to try one twice in a store. The first time was just a few seconds and I was thrown off by the shape and the sound, and I dismissed it pretty quick. The second time was this year and I played it a bit longer and liked it a lot more already. It has an odd shape, it's very big and it sounds different than you might expect. The shape is something that you have to get used to, the size doesn't bother me as I am very tall, and the sound to me sits somewhere between a Telecaster and a Les Paul. And this one is actually very light, it comes in just over 6 pounds or 3 kilos. Recently I've been selling multiple guitars and I only want to add new guitars to my collection that bring something different in terms of sound and vibe from what I already own. The last couple of months this Firebird has been creeping to the top of the list of things I want to try, and when I saw this last one being sold with new shipments only arriving as early as December, I wanted to give this one a go. By now I've got a lot of classic Gibson models covered. I've got a Gibson SG, 2 Gibson Les Pauls, a Gibson Les Paul Jr., and I've got an Epiphone ES335. So how would this fit in? Let's compare and find out. my surprise, it has more in common with my Gibson Les Paul than I thought, though this guitar does sound more clear and open. And of course, my SG had a lower output in this comparison. In contrast, I was surprised how much output this Firebird has. In fact, this Firebird is so hot I had to wear shorts today, revealing my long and skinny white legs. No, actually, we're in the middle of a heat wave. It's August while I'm filming this, but this video will probably come out months later. Anyway, because of the clarity of this guitar that I mentioned earlier, I wanted to compare it to my Les Paul Jr. with a P90 obviously in the bridge and my Telecaster. And because the Junior only has a bridge pickup, I'm going to compare them all on the bridge pickup. And for the last one, I'll go back to this guitar but put the bridge pickup a bit lower so it has lower output, so we can compare how that sounds. In my opinion, lowering the pickups works very well for this guitar. I think this guitar should be a bit cleaner than how hot it was set up from the factory. So I'm gonna dial in both pickups and play you something once again in all pickup positions. Personally, I prefer this a lot more compared to how these pickups sounded at first. But you have it all at your disposal. There's a very big range to dial in these pickups to any way you like it. And this guitar has a pretty big frequency range anyhow. Now to close off, I recorded some dirty fuzzy tones for you while jamming around with this guitar before I adjusted the pickup height. So let's see how this guitar handles the nasty side of music. The construction of these guitars is pretty great on paper. It has an actual knife-through design, it has mini Grover tuners, it has actual Firebird pickups and so on. A lot of people rave about these guitars as the best thing that Epiphone makes these days. Is it all just hype, or do I agree? Well, to me this feels like a much more expensive guitar, but like I said before, I think Epiphone makes great guitars in general these days, and this is no exception. Whether it's the best in our lineup is something I cannot say, but it definitely is something different in terms of sound, playability and looks. I really enjoy playing this guitar and it's a great value for money. So I think there's a good chance I'll keep this guitar because it's so much fun to play, it's really not expensive for what it is, and it's something totally different. What do you think about these Firebirds? Let me know in the comments down below. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and I'll see you next time.